Would you rather have the 6 size or Ren Shingon? Well, to me, this is a no-brainer. With the 6 size, the user is granted unparalleled control over their curse energy and hyper-awareness. This is what allows Gojo to keep his infinity running constantly. It also increases the intellectual prowess of the user and allows you to see at atomic levels. With the 6 size, you can make even Miwa top 3 in the verse. The only side effects is fatigue and can be treated with covering the eyes. But with the Ren Shingon, you get so much more. You get the visual prowess of the Sharingan, you have the ability to cast the infinite Tsukiyomi, you get access to a Susanoo, space-time manipulation, and you can create portals and travel practically anywhere. It also grants the user the power to master all jutsu and nature transformations. You get access to the Sage of 6 Paths power like Almighty Push and Universal Pull. Maybe with this, I'll finally be able to post the baddies. The only side effects is possible vision loss and high chakra cost, but can be fixed by taking the eyes of another user. Would you rather get hit with Gojo's Infinite Void or be stuck in Itachi's Genjutsu? Well, with Gojo's Infinite Void, you're flooded with information. It was estimated to be about a year's worth of information entering your brain in 0.2 seconds. You feel everything while feeling nothing at the same time. Assuming you can withstand it, you're most likely going to be a vegetable for the rest of your life because it will fry your brain. With Itachi's Genjutsu, you're stuck in an illusion right after making eye contact. Like the Infinite Void, you're hit within seconds. Itachi can alter the perception of time, making it seem like days of torture while making you relive your most traumatic events. He can also depict an illusion of you being stabbed repeatedly. So if I had to choose, I would definitely go with Gojo's Infinite Void, because at least it'll be quick. Itachi will not only torture you for what feels like days, but scar you for the rest of your life. Which would you pick? Would you rather be stuck in Demon Slayer or Attack on Titan? With Demon Slayer, it's not that complicated to survive. You just have to avoid going out at night, secluded areas, and practically anyone in the 12 Kizuki. My strategy would be to learn thunder breathing and become a professional escape artist, but if I run into someone faster than me, I'm cooked. But with Attack on Titan, there is so many obstacles to look out for, like the random titans outside the wall, which one of your allies are titan shifters, will Erwin talk you into your death, or will the rumbling crush your entire family? So in this case, it's a no-brainer to go with Demon Slayer because you just have a few obstacles to avoid. Versus Attack on Titan, 80% of the planet was wiped out by Eren and couldn't do anything about it. Which would you pick? Who's more evil, Sukuna or All For One? Well, with Sukuna, we know his childhood was not the greatest. He was birthed from a starving and dying woman and had to consume his twin for nutrients. But he was never wrong. Sukuna kinda woke up one day and just chose violence. He wreaked havoc all during his era and answered to no one. On top of that, he came out into the new era ready to eviscerate all women and children. Although this was undoubtedly evil, Sukuna did these things for one sole purpose of fighting the strongest curses. With All For One, it's kind of the same story. All For One stole nutrients from his brother in the womb and was born into a new era of quirks. Because it was so new, the world was still unstable. His mother gave him a comic book in an attempt to give him hope, but instead he took a liking to the villain. All For One only sees people as puppets, and his ultimate goal was to turn society upside down and cause mass chaos. So in this case, I'd have to say it's a draw. They both had no real reasons for their actions, and they had similar upbringings, so it's hard to pick one over the other. Who do you think is more evil? Out of all these MCs, who would be the strongest with every ability in their verse? Well, Deku with every quirk would be pretty strong, especially when you consider quirks like Shigaraki's Decay and Star's New Order, but it's not that comparable to the others. Denji with all the devil powers would be broken too, but he already has arguably the strongest devil, which is a Chainsaw Devil, so he doesn't really hold weight over the other two. And Yuji with every curse technique looks the best on paper, because you can have Infinity, Shrine, Jackpot, and if you consider adaptability a curse technique, then that as well. And he seems unstoppable. But Gon only needs one Nen ability, and that's Aluka or Nanika's wish granting ability. With this alone, he can simply wish away at anything and take away the abilities of the others. But the only argument would be that this technically is not a Nen ability, so if that's the case, I'd give the edge to Yuji or Denji. Would you rather be hit with Sukuna's Shrine or Itachi's Amaterasu? Well, both are excruciating pain that can kill you, but one is better to endure. With Amaterasu, it's an eternal fire that can't be put out with any conventional means. You have to use a chakra shield, or the user has to put it out themselves, but it burns until there is nothing left. So if neither of those happen, you're done. But with Shrine, it's an infinite amount of cleaves and dismantles all at once. The only escape would be Simple Domain or getting out of its range of damage. So I'd take death by paper cuts over an eternal fire any day. Which would you pick? Would you rather have Luffy's Toon Force or Gojo's 6 Sides and Infinity? Well, with Gojo's abilities, you can do so much. You can fly, use blue and red to repel and attract forces. You can also use these to teleport, and you can't be touched by regular means. Plus, with the 6 Sides, you can run Infinity indefinitely with low energy output. But with Toon Force, you are simply a gag character. Luffy's Gear 5 can essentially accomplish anything. His imagination is the only aspect limiting his full potential. So in this case, it would be tough, but I have to go with the Toon Force. Which would you pick? Would you rather get hit with a black flash or rock paper scissors attack from Hunter x Hunter? Well, it really depends on who these attacks are coming from. If it's adult Gon and Yuji, this is a no-brainer. With Yuji's black flash, we know it affects the soul directly, and on top of that, he has superhuman strength. So it's safe to say that the black flash would be an absolute shaker, but survival is still possible. Whereas Gon's Jaja-Ken holds immense power. The way he was able to crunch P2 down with just pure strength alone goes to show that you'd have to have high durability to survive such an attack. So in this case, I'd go with Gon's rock attack, because black flash touching my soul seems like irreversible damage I like to avoid. Which would you pick? Out of all these characters, who would be the weakest without their it factor? Well, it can't be Naruto, because although Kuruma was an asset, he didn't make Naruto. He still has Sage Mode and immense chakra reserves large enough to outlast Kuruma in Baron Mode. In Dragon Ball, we know that Saiyans have Zenkai boosts and other power-ups, but Goku would just train hard and still find a way to be strong, because the top 5 strongest characters aren't even Saiyans. And with Luffy, he has all 3 Hakis at the highest level possible, and as we know, the strongest characters in One Piece either don't have a Devil Fruit or possess extraordinary Haki. So it would definitely be Gojo. He does have other great abilities in the 6 size, but without Infinity, Gojo wouldn't be the undisputed strongest character in JJK. If you could bring any 3 of these abilities in real life, which would you pick? Well, there are only a few options that make sense. Opi Opi no Mi is my first choice, because not only can you teleport, you can also save lives and become practically immortal. Next up would be telekinesis. It would be extremely useful for almost anything in real life, and you can even make yourself fly. And lastly, I'd have to go with New Order or Visionary. But with New Order, there are limits and rules you have to follow. With Visionary, you're only bound by your imagination, so I can shape reality as I see fit. So with my last choice, I'd have to go with Visionary. Which would you pick? If you had to choose the anime with the best tournament arc, who would it be? The first anime that comes to mind is My Hero. This was arguably the peak of the show and showcased all the top students' quirks. It also helped build character comprehension so we can better understand the motives of some characters. Next was the Culling Games from Jujutsu Kaisen. Although it hasn't been animated yet, this arc brought out the best of JJK, introducing us to characters like Angel, Igurama, and Kashimo. It also allowed us to see what a true dog Akari is. And we can't forget about the highlight of it all, Sukuna vs Gojo. When this is animated, it will definitely break the internet. Lastly, we have Dragon Ball Super and the Tournament of Power. From the OST to the animations, this arc was pure perfection. Jiren vs Goku was so anticipated, it literally crashed Crunchyroll. That wasn't the only good fight. All the fights were meaningful and grasped each character's designs. It gave every character a chance to shine. Toei definitely cooked with this one. Which would you pick?